Big data, artificial intelligence, robotics, these unprecedented digital transformations have changed the way we live and will surely continue to do so. How can we create a digital future we want? What values do we need to foster an inclusive and sustainable digital transformation? My guest in this week's Responsible Innovation Story is Professor Sarah Spiekermann. She's a global thought leader on digital ethics and chair of the Institute for Information Systems and Society at Vienna University of Economics and Business. Professor Spiekermann, thank you very much for taking the time today.
Hello, good morning.
You authored Digital Ethics, a system of values for the 21st century. Why do we need to think about ethics and values in digitalization?
Think about cars. If we had not thought about the safety of a car, when we built it, when we developed it, when it continued to be elaborate over time, it would be a disaster. Digital transformation is along the same lines, even if that technical change is in software. There is a lot of discussion right now about the value of transparency as well when it comes to artificial intelligence. We don't know how our financial markets are operating if over 90% of trade is being done with artificial intelligence. You can also think about Facebook. Now in Facebook, you have a like button. That like button was introduced with very good intentions, but in the end, you saw that it has been fostering hate, greed, and particularly envy.
Do we have a societal agreement on these values, or do these values differ between different countries, cultures, groups?
We as a culture in Europe, for example, have grown to appreciate privacy. So our default settings in the technology may be such that the value of privacy is prioritized for us. So we can build video surveillance cameras to increase the safety of public places, but we can build them such that they are generally privacy sensitive and won't record everyone, but do it in an anonymous way. However, when there is a specific situation, there can be anonymity revocation technically, so that there is a process which allows to re-identify the images if need be. So, and on a technical level, we can ensure that there is a good balance between privacy, security, and safety.
What would be this kind of European style of responsible digitalization?
I think there could be a European style of digitalization if we gain digital sovereignty. At the moment, we are largely using the technology that is marketed. I'm emphasizing marketed here in the United States. And the architectures chosen there and the way, for example, surveillance capitalism has fostered a certain kind of data-intensive infrastructure. Yeah, that's not necessarily the European style that we should be aiming for. But since we use American technology or Chinese technology very largely so, we don't, at the moment, we don't live our proper values. And unless we stop selling our best companies and have other continents purchase and use them or take them out of the market as they like, unless we don't stop that, we will continue to absorb foreign values and be victims of that thinking in the long run.
So it's not a clash of cultures, it's a clash of values and a clash of technologies.
Yes, I think that is true, because if we continue to use this kind of technology that makes us totally transparent, it will change us as well and our culture, because it is very well known in anthropology that humans change as a result of using certain objects. Their attitude towards the world and towards others is changing and primed very much by the kind of technology they use. I'll give you an example. The fact that our network infrastructure is currently built such that our devices are permanently on standby. Yeah? So we are permanently reachable by anyone and anything in the world in real time without latency. This is a certain way of being networked that is in the technology, and we are overwhelmed by that connectivity. The result of that, using this technology all the time, though, also influences the way we act vis-à-vis each other.
What are the key technologies of, let's say, the next 3 to 5 years where this issue of data privacy and ethics and value will be key?
Every single technology is impacted by privacy and security. Every single one. I think that there is a lot of innovation potential in augmented reality. The glasses that were originally, let's say, rejected due to privacy concerns. But on the other hand, augmented reality lets us explore the world in a very different way. So that's an interesting domain for privacy to play a role. Certainly also the use of personal data and artificial intelligence. And right now we accumulate 30 to 40 to 50,000 or even more personal data points in data management platforms that deliver real-time advertisement services, credit scores, employment probabilities, and so on. This kind of arbitrary use of AI on personal data is also a huge issue. Yeah.
What is the real concern?
Knowledge is power. You know this old saying. I think it was you who said that. And knowledge is power. Who holds knowledge? Those people who own data, who aggregate data, are in the powerful position to tell you who you are. They could tell you that you are not fit enough to get a certain job, that you are not trustworthy enough to get a certain credit. There are substantial possibilities to deeply influence the life of people in all service domains. So what is happening is that there are invisible actors, the owners of personal data aggregated profiles, and these invisible owners are influencing the real world. And this is not only that you see certain advertisements or that you get or don't get different conditions, services, and so on, but that data is now also being used in order to influence people's opinion. For example, the opinion to vote for Brexit, to vote for Trump. But the thing is that those who don't have access to those data profiles are out of the game. It's not that attention is attributed anymore to that which is relevant, but attention is attributed to what other people think you should be paying attention to, and this is the information that you get based on your profile. What is happening at all layers of society is that we are deprived of our positive freedom. Positive freedom is the freedom to build our own judgment and thoughts without being influenced.
Basically, this kind of technology undermines our democracies.
Absolutely. Well, it does. It's right. It's doing it right now. Facebook last year deleted 2 billion virtual identities. The social networks are full of bots of virtual identities, and these identities look like people, they speak like people, they act like people. Yeah, they seem intelligent. You don't recognize necessarily at first that that's a machine you're talking to, but the population of machines online is almost greater than the real people. And what these machines are doing is that in the background, they are triggered by those who want to influence opinion. And this is a threat that is greatly underestimated because a lot of politicians are not aware, and the technology world does not want to talk about the fact that Social networks are populated by machines.
Where do they come from?
Consultancy businesses, like Cambridge Analytica was an example. If you looked at the recent documentation of the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the investigative journalism, you saw an interview with the former head of Cambridge Analytica, and he said, "Why is it us? Everybody's doing it."
How did the corona crisis affect these major trends?
The interesting thing is that especially in Germany and in Austria, where we have really made an effort to build a privacy-friendly Corona app, people have gone into huge debates about privacy. So they discuss privacy even though there is no need to discuss privacy, because the way the architecture is built is wonderful. Compare this to Asian Corona apps. In Asia, they use satellite information, GPS information, to build digital fences around people's home. And the moment somebody goes beyond the 5-meter radius that they're allowed to walk, the police is picking them up. Technology has to be built with certain, what Herzberg would have called hygiene factors. Yeah? Hygiene factors are that privacy is granted. We don't need to discuss about it. It's in the law, and it must be respected, and otherwise it's not admitted to the market. It's switched off. GDPR is not even enough. GDPR there has to be a much stronger sanctioning and functioning sanctioning system around GDPR. The competences of the data protection authorities and the staff has to be tripled at least. And we have to we have to have a system where proactively the technology needs to be certified before going to market. We have that in most technology domains. Take cars. You can't put a car to the market if you have not gone through certain certification. It's the same thing for the digital.
What could IT companies, European IT companies, do to put forward this kind of responsible innovation?
One of the first things that they have to relearn is that there have always been two strategies for innovation. Either you go for a cost strategy, cost reduction strategy, you optimize profits through cost reduction, or you have a good profit because you offer quality. Quality has always been an alternative to profit, and the European original industry advantage was that we were building for quality. And because of the pressure from the financial markets and the incredible growth mentality that has developed around economics, many companies have forgotten about quality. And they are constantly working on trying to reduce cost and to use digitalization to decrease cost. And we have to get out of that vicious cycle. We should be using digitalization to improve quality, and to go away from digitalization where it does not improve quality. It's an attitude. It's an entrepreneurial attitude, and it has something to do with entrepreneurial pride. The challenge is, of course, that a lot of managers today are not entrepreneurs. A lot of managers, and they being raised in the Friedman mentality, which says the business of business is to make money as business, yeah. And that we should not care for values or anything like that, is a huge problem. Managers also need to be more conscious about the power they have and re-embrace their responsibility, the principle of responsibility they have.
Thank you very much for this very interesting interview.
Thank you.